So this is the story of our 11-year journey to our miracle, and this started in June of 2006.
Yeah, we had 3 miscarriages right at the beginning. We had 2 in the first year and then 1 in the second year. And then 2008 or 2009 we had another one. And then we didn't have another one until almost 2013.
Mm-hmm.
At that point, it got really rough for us.
Mm-hmm. We dealt with in 2008 with me dealing with depression from the miscarriages and not being able to work and just struggling with being able to even just function, and really had to focus in on God's promise and word that we would have children, because we always had a desire to have children. And it was prophesied over us time and time again, from the day we got married, even before we got married, that we would have children. And then in 2014, we had our presbytery, and it was reiterated again that we were to be mothers and fathers in the house, which didn't necessarily mean for our own children, but they really just reiterated that we were supposed to be around kids, and still loved every child that I taught in preschool or every child that we taught in kids' church, because that's what God told us to be, was mothers and fathers in the house. And then Isabel, in that same time, prophesied over us that he spoke about the story of the woman with the bleeding disorder, and how she was bleeding for years, and she hears Jesus is coming, and she comes out and she just grabs the hem of his garment, and then he's like, "Who touched me?" And turns around, and it's the lady. But we forget about the beginning part of that story, where Jesus was actually on the way to save a little girl who was dying. And that reminded Andre and I that Jesus was on the way for our healing, and for us to one day have children.
February 2016, they put us on the IVF program list and told us to take a year, and then we actually got in at October. And so from that we had the 7 eggs, and they implanted the first one on the Wednesday, and on the Friday morning we got the results that the other 6 didn't make it, and then we had just the 1.
And that's when we knew that God was going to fulfill his promise, and we really had to focus in on not another miscarriage. And it's stressful for anyone. It's stressful once you've had 1 miscarriage. It's stressful when you've had 2, and it's even more stressful once you've had multiples, especially when you don't know the reasons why you keep losing babies. So then we finished our treatment. Then in late December, just before Christmas, we got word that I was expecting. I mean, it was still scary for us because we had miscarriages by 8 or 9 weeks, but we just had a reassurance that this was our time. So right away at like 6 weeks, we just didn't feel that same anxiety we would have had in the past, just because we were really reassured in the word that God was going to give us his promise. 9 months later, August 8th, 2017, I delivered our beautiful baby boy, who came in weighing at 9 pounds, 1.6 ounces, 19 and a half inches long, which we're so excited that Isaac is here. He's the promise that God promised to us of over 11 years ago, and his name came from a word that we both got years prior to having him. So we knew already that we were going to have a son. We already knew that we were going to name him Isaac, because that was the promise to Abraham and Sarah. Already see such a great destiny over his life, and I mean, the kid was only like a week old and was already in the newspaper reaching people in the community. So it just goes to show that God can do anything when you just don't give up. We had to stand on his word, and standing on his word meant we have to sacrifice a little bit of ourselves. Some days we just cry just because we're so overjoyed knowing that God is so good, so faithful no matter what.